What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kim from the Patio with Kim, and I'm live here with my special company, Blak Makk of DFPN, DatFeelin Podcast Network, founder, CEO, and I'm so glad to have you on my show. Is there anything you
Pleasure.
want to shout out?
Oh man, shout out to the entire team. Shout out to all the podcasts that we have on the network. It's so many now. I don't want to name them all because I'm probably gonna leave somebody out, and I don't want to be selfish.
That'd be my problem too. I've been turning the page like, oh wait a minute, I got a couple missing.
Nah, man. Shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to you for getting this whole 50 years of hip hop thing underway, kicking it off for us. This has been an excellent series so far. I'm honored to be the last.
I appreciate it. I was a little nervous, but when you first gave us the task, I was like, okay, how am I gonna do this? I said I gotta wait until it's later in the summer when I go home. So it was cool that each Smitty wanted to do one, so we could do DFPN first, representing, and then I got a couple people from back home that support us and share us. So they helped us out. I wanted to get them on an interview, and then I had you gotta get a New Yorker for 50 years of hip hop. So got my homegirl Nikki B, and now I have the honor of having Blak Makk on my show. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. But we're gonna get into it right now. So for all my listeners, I triple dog dare y'all to ear hustle on this one because I'm telling you, it's gonna be fruitful and you are gonna wanna be in listening. Y'all gonna wish y'all was in the room. That's what I'm telling you for sure. So, the grand first question, everybody know I always ask, what song, group, artist got you loving hip hop? Like, what's that first one that said, yo, ooh, I love hip hop?
There's been many, but the one song that like got me like hook, line, sinker, I'm gonna way back. It was a Diggable Planet song. For anybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, Diggable Planets.
Yeah, Diggable Planets was there's been many before that, and but the moment I knew like I loved what hip hop was the first time I heard Cool Like That.
Yeah. Oh, you play that joint right now. Everybody.
To this day. Yeah, to this day. It's one of those songs that if you hear it, it's like, cause I'm cool like that. I'm cool like that. Right. And this as a kid, that was like that was it.
A jazzy feel to it, but it was, everybody was listening to that. Mine don't go all the way back. I always think mine go all the way back. Rapper's Delight.
Yeah, I mean, but there's been a lot.
I'm a person.
Yeah, so. There's been a lot. So my hip hop experience is probably different from a lot of people's. To where like I wanted to be like my brother, like crazy. And my brother was on like the KRS Ones and Public Enemies. So that was my introduction to hip hop, like stuff like that. But my brother was so musically like out there with the other stuff. It made me like and appreciate the other stuff as well as hip hop. But hip hop was always like the thing I gravitated towards.
Oh, okay. Because a lot of people slept on X-Clan too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
If you ask somebody right now who X-Clan is, if it's not this generation, they're gonna look at it.
They don't know who it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get it. Is that now? Are you a singer, a rapper? I don't know the other side of DatFeelin Podcast, so I would love for you to tell me that part and what inspired you to become the artist that you are.
I think that goes back to the first question, like how did I fall in love with it? And the music side. So I think of myself more so as an artist rather than just putting myself in the box of I'm gonna be a singer.
Okay.
Um, I like to write. I like to create. That's my thing. But being that I got into the music, just seeing because when I actually started writing music, like I started at a very young age, and it was to do some of the stuff that wasn't being done. You know, I always look for something that wasn't being done and try to bring that out. I still do that to this day. And the way my process is I try to find something that isn't being talked about and talk about it. Bring that,
Oh, okay.
but
Well,
it's always
go
go ahead.
ahead. No.
No, it's always been a thing with me. I just love to create.
Oh, okay. Well, even with artistry, the one thing I haven't talked about is like graffiti and breakdancing and stuff. That had a lot of influence during the hip hop era too. Now I don't know how to breakdance, but but yeah. So even with your artistry talent, as far as the art part, um, did hip hop have any influence in that arena?
Major, because hip hop was all about expression,
Right.
right? And it didn't matter your background. It was all about the expression, which the early days of hip hop really had a big influence on me because you had the MC, which was the life of the party,
Right.
minus the DJ, right? So the MC really became the life of the party. At first, it was the DJ, then there was the MC. But I
Right.
kind of fell in love with both facets of it because I love the timing of the DJ, but I also love the crowd and that part of it too, like the interaction. I've always loved that. But yeah, it always had a big influence on me.
Oh, okay. So, like the first time you had to present some artwork or any type of music, whether it be written uh, or presented in a vocal form, I'll put it that way. Um,
Hmm.
what was that first time? How did you feel? Like, did you know you was there?
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely. So the first time I actually did it, I had been writing down lyrics for years. But the first time I actually like presented it to anyone, I was about 15 or 16. And this was around the time where we were starting to go out and the little teenage parties, everybody's going around town doing the parties and stuff.
yeah, house parties.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it was in that era. But they were this is around the time where they were doing the freestyling. Freestyling had become a thing
Right.
in Louisiana where I'm from. It had become a thing. So you get on the microphone, everybody do their thing, and I remember the song. It was Lil Kiki Southside. It was
Oh,
that
I know
song.
that song. Southside, Southside. Yeah.
Yeah, it was that song. So they had that instrumental and they played it, and nobody had ever heard me rap before, let
Mm-hmm.
alone like perform. And I did it. I freestyled the whole song, and everybody just went crazy.
That's
And it was
great.
yeah, it was like an injection in the arm. It was like I knew I was addicted from that moment. Just knowing like I could control a crowd just based off of what I'm saying. Like
Mm-hmm.
that was it. That was it for me. And from then on, I already had the name. The name Blak Makk itself is an acronym, which was given to me by my grandfather,
Oh,
uh,
okay.
and and I already had that. So the first time I ever rapped, that came out of my mouth. Like it was a part of my
Oh,
rap, and it stuck. And people just kept calling me Blak Makk. So
and
there it
so
is.
you had the lyricist part, you had the name, you had the flow, so you was good.
Oh
So
yeah.
the first time that you knew you was legit making moves in the industry type area, what was the storyline behind that? Like, how did you how did you get into it? How did you feel while you was there? The very first time that you knew legitly you was doing something more than just making moves. Hey, what's up? How you doing?
What up? What up, Mac? The first time we did it, so I was stationed in Eglin, my first duty station. And we were there, and we were with this group, me and three of my friends. What up, D Junior? What up, Live? What up, Lil D? We all formed a group called Fuck It Entertainment. That was the name of the group. But we called it Fit Entertainment. Right.
Okay.
So we ended up doing that, and um what started out is just like us rapping on karaoke machines and doing and just doing it for our friends. It ended
Okay.
up getting us into like the NCO clubs, and then we started there, and so we would perform at the NCO club, and then from there it brought us out into the town off base, and where we started doing like shows here and there around the bars and clubs around Fort Walton Beach. And it ended up being a thing, and it was like damn, like we could really make moves. And we were for a while. And then that good old PCS came along and tore that up. But we were on to something then, and just making those moves then gave us enough confidence to be like, yo, we might actually be really dope, and see how far we can go into this music thing. And it became a passion then to like pursue it on that level. But
Okay.
the service came first, regardless of anything else. But
Right.
so
Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting. Um, so do you ever feel that you missed an opportunity that you could have had to make it grow into something even greater, or it's going the way you planned?
um that's a tough question to answer, because I did have that chance. I did have it, and then I let it go, and then I had it again. And by the time I had it again, I had a family. So things changed,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Like I knew I still could do it, and I could do it at a high level. And knowing that I could do that, if I would have did it the first time I had the opportunity to, yeah, I probably would be somewhere. But there are no guarantees. I think it played out just how it was supposed to play out, and the
True.
fact that I do have a family, that means a lot to me. So now it's like I need to give them that time. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And nurture them and watch them grow. And I think me being creative here where I am and being around my family, it affords me a lot, so I don't
Yes.
regret anything. But I do think sometimes, like, if I would have taken the first opportunity I had to take it, yeah, I probably would have been doing something great. But
Uh,
I don't
uh,
regret it.
so how do you feel right now, though, about your impact on where things are going with whatever artistry you're choosing to express yourself with?
Oh, that's a great question. I think if you look at what DFPN is,
Shout out to DFPN, DatFeelin
shout
Podcast
out to
Network.
everybody. I think if you look at what it is, you are seeing my creativeness, my creativity. You're seeing it on display, just by the shows that we put out, the people that we bring to the table. The way that this is growing. I think you're seeing that on display, and it also helps that I have people on my team that are just go getting it. So
Mhm.
it helps to have that, and to know that they support my creativity, and we're going to get it together, and it's not just my vision anymore. Yeah, my creativity is out and vast, but
Right.
it's not just my vision anymore. It's like 10 other people's visions now,
Right.
and like just seeing that is like, I'm proud of that. I'm really, really proud of that. I don't care how far we go. It's great that we are
Right.
making strides. I don't care how far we go. I love doing it. I love being creative. I love creating, and I love watching it grow. And that's a reward for me.
And you know me, I'm like, okay, I'm about 7-8 months in, and I'm like, okay, I just want to learn what I can, and I don't want to keep bugging nobody. So that's why I'm like, well, here she come with shit.
No, and you know what? We were there, so my patience, especially with people that are starting out, like I am extremely patient because I know we didn't have this information. You know what I'm saying? Like when we started this, like to function on the level that you're functioning on, it took us a long time to get to that level. So I'm extremely patient with new podcasts, and I know eventually people will get it, and that's why I'm as patient as I am. So
Well,
it's never oh shit, here it is. But it's never that. It's okay. I need to make sure that they're understanding, because there was some things that I don't understand. And there's still things I don't understand. There's still things that me and Mac talk about that he has a better handle on than I do. And it's that, and it's allowing myself to be patient, to listen and lead at the same time. So
I appreciate
it's something that I'm learning too.
Yeah, I appreciate everything, all the knowledge that y'all have been able to teach me and share me, because I was like, man, they've been doing this for a grip. How I'm gonna catch up? I've been out of the technology business since 2016. I mean, like everything. I went dark. Every blue moon, you would catch a picture of me and my little one, but nah, I was like, nah, forget this. I need to. I'm sorry.
And that's the thing. That's the advantage of being on the DFPN, is like you have this information. Like, because a lot of people start off and they don't have that information. We started off, we didn't have this information, but everybody that comes on board, we try our best to give them that information.
Okay, so back to hip hop real quick.
Yep.
What are some of your greatest or favorite accomplishments with what you've done? I know DFPN, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but like your own personal accomplishments.
Like hip hop wise?
Yes.
So we opened up for we in the early days, like we opened up for countless people, like Lil Jon and the East Side Boys, like Roy Jones Jr. Like pretty much if they came around Eglin around that time, like we were opening up for them. So those were big accomplishments for me, to just like be around some of these people and like rub elbows with them. Like that was big for me. Playing the House of Blues was a dream of mine. I played it. And just to be on that stage. Shout out to MRK, man. Like when he was on the show, like he had me going down memory lane. Me and MRK been on some like that story. We don't tell it, but like that's my guy, man. That's my guy. Like I remember we were the only two people showing up for each other sometimes.
Oh wow!
And, like in performances. So shout out to him, man. Like
shout out MRK.
Yeah, shout out to my guy, man. Even now, like one of my it's not really a hip hop achievement. Like I didn't achieve it like hip hop wise, but having Crooked Eye on the platform was like that was an oh shit moment for me, because I didn't think that would ever like I would ever see something like that happen, or we'd ever bring somebody like that. But him being the icon and his history in the industry, being on the platform was humongous. And I still have my hands in the business. Like I'm not completely gone.
Hey.
I'm here. I'm here still.
Hey.
I'm just not. I'm not in the forefront. I'm not really active like that. You may get a song or two out of me, and that's just because I'm focused on the network. like this is my focus. But
Okay.
every now and then, if I could squeeze some time in to get some music out, I would definitely do that.
That's what's up. Because of my ignorance, who is Crooked Eye?
King Crooked. I call him if you know who he is, Crooked Eye is a West Coast legend. Like he was on death row. Yeah, he was on death row. Once upon a time, he's part of Slaughterhouse. Once upon a time, and him and Joel Ortiz are absolutely killing it right now. So shout out to King Crooked, man.
Yeah, see, I don't research all that stuff, so I'm just like, who I like is who I like, because I listen more for the beats than I do the people. So that's my ignorance. I mean, I'm always 90s every day, baby, because born in the 70s, raised in the 80s. What? Yeah. Partied hard in the 90s. Shout out to my crew. They know who they are. I ain't got to name no names. So, like, where do you see yourself musically wise? I'll put it that way. Musically wise, artistry wise. In like the next 5 years, like, what would you like to have your place in everything, even this podcast?
Well, in the next 5 years, musically, I want to be able to say I put out an album that is timeless. That is my ultimate goal musically. Like I can put out an album and it can be played whenever, wherever, and it would have an impact. I want to be able to put one of those out, which is why I'm not really that active, because I am a hardcore perfectionionsince. Like,
so you gotta be tunnel.
Yeah, I gotta be dialed in to drop an album. And I've tried since we've been on the network. Like I've tried to like work on the album, but if my concentration gets broken, it's like I'm scrapping it. So, which is why like the last year or some change, like I've put out singles because I was working on the album. Concentration got broken, and I scrapped it. But I do want to sit back and make an album to where I can play it, and it's my story, and you can play it, and like no matter what time period it is, that album it relates to you.
That's what's up. Well, bless. I hope you get it. I pray you get it.
I hope I do too. I've been trying.
Hey, it's coming. It's coming. So, do you have any? I don't want to say blackisms. Do you have any nuggets of wisdom or any suggestions for anyone that's in a position where they're trying to get into anything? Because you have so much, to offer for a younger person, even an older person, I guess, but something that'll let them know, like how you did me, how to start or how to do.
Well, I'll start by quoting Nipsey Hussle, right? And you're going to feel every emotion. You will. There'll be peaks, there'll be valleys, there'll be highs, there'll be lows. You're gonna feel it all. The most important thing is to not give up, because we felt that, right? We still feel that. There's highs, there's highs, there's lows, and there's wins. You'll lose some, but it's important that you allow yourself to feel it and move. Right? Don't get stuck on the win too long. Don't get stuck on the loss too long. Allow yourself to feel it, but also allow yourself to move on. And I think just doing that helped me a lot with the network, because like, especially in the early days, I was like, I want to build, right? And I want to build fast. And keep your team like on the same wavelength, right? So if you have a team around you that's all focused on the same thing, like, and they're all focused on growth, it makes the mission easier, right? So you have the same people working towards the same thing, and it's regardless of what happens, you're in the same boat together, and that also has served me well. And that's it, man. Just don't give up.
Okay. Yeah, I felt that with the patio a few times. I was like, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know if I'm doing it right, and I don't know if they like it or not. Because whenever I ask for feedback, nobody say nothing. I be over here panicking, and then I'm like, you know what? Just chill out. Just chill out. They've been doing this for years. You've only been doing this for months. Just chill out. We know where we want to be by the end of the year. So let's just go with the flow. And
Yep.
so yeah, I appreciate that too. So like my bonus final question for real for hip hop is, I always ask, is there anything you would have went back and told yourself earlier on that may bring you up to something you really wanted now? Like something you didn't want to do then that you could have did and got you where you wanted to be. Not to say you still wouldn't have DFPN, but there might be several other things that you wanted then that would be, significantly, it would have gave you significant chance to analyze and tell you what real direction you wanted to go.
No, because I would have went back. Really, realistically, I would have went back and told myself, "You're right." That's what I would. You're right. Whatever happens, it's going to happen. That's always been my mindset. Like, it's going to happen, so let it happen. And I think I get that from my grandfather, rest his soul. Like, I do get that from him. He was always. I always thought he was like a pessimist. Like, really, really, truly. I always thought he was a grumpy old man. But now that he's not
that serious?
No, I really did. I thought he was like a grumpy old man. Like, dude, you are not positive at all. But like the older I get, the more I realize his mindset. It's like, don't worry about things that you don't have control over.
Right.
Because you have no control over it. What you can control is exactly what you need to focus on. Right. And it sounded way more fucked up coming from him because he's like, I thought he was a grumpy old man, but it's like, don't complain about it because you can't control it. Like, stop spending time complaining about stuff you don't have control over, because it's going to happen. Like, it's not gonna be roses, right? So I went back and told myself, you're right. It's not all great, because one of the things that even pursuing the music, like once I got out pursuing it, was like, I loved making the music, but I wasn't in love with the process. You know what I mean? There was a lot of politics involved and pay to play. And even to get your foot in the door, it was just like a process, right? Like, I loved making the music, but there came a point to where, like, I don't really like the process, right? Like, I'm not in love with that, but I love making music. So I went back and told myself, you're right. Be careful what you wish for too. And because when you get it, you may not actually love it. Like, I've been there, and I wouldn't right. It isn't nice, but I'm glad that it all worked out the way it did. I have no regrets. So allowing myself to feel it was key to that. Like, and I'm happy here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm happy with the network. So I'm happy seeing what's happening with it.
Oh, that's good. Hey, I am glad that I'm able to try and keep up and do my part and learn whatever other parts that I need to learn. So, I mean, back when I was younger, I probably would have told myself, musically wise, try and find a way to get sponsored into the dancing programs that I missed out on.
That too. Yeah, that too. Try to find a sponsor, man. Like it'd be way easier if you had a sponsor, but again, this is all knowledge I didn't have back then. So
it's all hindsight. Yeah.
This is all hindsight. Like I didn't have
Right.
the knowledge, but knowing it now, it probably wouldn't have changed anything, right? Because there's still the process, and I didn't like the process. I did not like that at all.
And I would have told myself, even though you're a nerd, be who you are.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I mean, that's all the questions I had in regards to hip hop. So, we just chit chat. If there's something you want to talk about, because I know we be clowning offline and stuff, it's whatever. Because I got nothing but time, bro.
Ain't nothing really happened.
I just seen the what was it? The story on Amber Rose that I don't remember the pod, but Claudia Jordan, shout out to Claudia, Providence, Rhode Island, what's up? She was explaining how Cape Verdeans, shout out to Cape Verde, which is African and Portuguese with a little bit of Spain descent off the west coast of Africa. And they was talking about how Amber White said she doesn't identify as black. She identifies as white, even though her mom is Cape Verdean, which is the mixture of what I told you. And Claudia had went in even more about how Cape Verdeans are racist. Now, granted, she didn't specify the New England area, but that's where most of them are. But how do you, when it comes to mixed people that are within the artist area or preying on the artist area, denying their full heritage, does that take an offense to doing your artistry? Like, say you want to present that person with a piece of art or a song or something, but they don't want to take it from you because you're not. That's like a Cape Verdean trait. The lighter skinned ones, they say they're Portuguese or white, and they deny their black heritage. To this day, I can attest to it because I got family that won't acknowledge that I'm family or even speak to me. But anyway, do you think hip hop, with how certain, how it flipped, and we had our ice babies, and then Eminem and stuff. Do you think that plays a part in why we don't have any more like Paul Walls and stuff like that coming out? It's like a sprinkle here, a sprinkle there.
No, I don't think that plays a part into it. Especially now. Hip hop is like it's a sound now. It's not it's more of a sound than it is a culture. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes totally sense. It makes total sense.
If you sound like such and such, you're more likely to get put on. Right. It doesn't matter what you look like. I don't think that plays a part into it. However, I do think that representing a culture is important, because I think the representation is important.
Right.
I do think that.
Oh, I totally agree, because that's what hip hop is. Hip hop is culture.
Right.
So, because culture encompasses all art.
Many things, right. Many things go into a culture.
They don't really get that nowadays.
No.
So that is disappointing.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think that plays a part in hip hop as much as it used to.
Mm-hmm.
It still may, but I don't think it's as prevalent as it was because you had people like Vanilla Ice, like they would say he was appropriating the culture.
Okay.
Right? Like you had Vanilla Ice, but on the same spectrum, you had an MC Search who was who was like who was like revered, still is to this
Yeah.
day. Like nobody messes with Search, right? But
Yeah.
they're on the same spectrum, right? They're both doing the same thing. Or like the most polarizing of all is Eminem, right?
Right.
People there are people to this day that would say Eminem is like if he were a black person, like he'd
Mm-hmm.
be average. And I'm like, you're dumb.
Right.
Because
Because he's a good lyricist.
right, right. If you locked I could see this. If you locked yourself in a room with Eminem and be like, who has the better lyrics? Eminem's coming out of the room the winner. Doesn't
Right.
matter what color you are. Like,
Yeah. Except for against Nas, because that's my dude. Shout out to Nas, number one. For me.
let's talk about Nas for a minute. Let's talk about Nas for a minute. Because I know Nas is everybody's favorite. So I'm gonna go on record. Nas in his age, I am way more appealing to Nas at his age now versus when he started. Like Nas now, I'm like, God damn, where was this guy?
What? Bravehearts? What?
Man, listen.
One
King's
mic.
Disease series.
I mean, I'm
All
not
right, Stillmatic, I'll give you Stillmatic. Stillmatic, Illmatic, I'll give you those two.
Okay.
Maybe it was written too. Maybe it was written as probably better than Stillmatic. Maybe.
I believe so. But
I mean, not Stillmatic, Illmatic.
Illmatic, I knew what you meant. I believe so. Because it was like, it was him. Then it was like, okay, it's him. And then it was like, damn, it's really him.
Yeah.
So.
But them King's Disease albums, I'm like, yo.
Fire.
Y'all better be glad Nas didn't do like the knock on Nas was always like his production, right? Great lyricist, production's terrible.
But that's because they, he came out when he was mad young, so they, it was probably some hate too.
It probably was. I'm comfortable saying that now. But like them King's Disease albums, I'm like, bro, if Nas had any production back then, like he probably like the case for him being a GOAT would be undeniable.
Right.
But there's criteria.
Well,
So who's your GOAT, Kim? Is it Nas?
He's my number one, but asterisk. Overall, it would be Rakim.
Why Rakim?
I could.
I'm interested in this answer.
I could listen to his lyrics and really feel that what he's talking about is really like I could imagine it. For where I was raised, even though I was raised up north, I was in New England, and I was only exposed to music in bits and pieces. But when I heard Rakim, I was like, yo. I mean, we had the gurus and the Grand Poobahs and all that too. Don't get me wrong, no disrespect or the MCs and all that. But I truly clicked with Rakim's music because I felt like if I was a boy, that would be my story.
Okay. I get that. I think for my thinking goes back because a lot of people who like rock with hip hop would say Rakim is their number one, is their GOAT. It's either Rakim or Black Thought. It's one of the two.
They don't give Black Thought enough credit though. Maybe back then, but as it came, they didn't give him enough.
I'm of the belief that his peers do, the public don't.
But
that's me though.
Shoot. You got me reminiscing now. Those was the days. Those was the days. And I love that everybody could express themselves. They could just be who they was.
That's the thing. Like
I
hip hop.
That at that time.
I loved when hip hop was young. When hip hop was like, it's not that it's old because it's only 50. It's only almost 50 years old, right? But the early days of hip hop where there wasn't, before it started making money, like it had to find its voice.
Before I love that. Memorized.
Right. I love that it had to go through that period because we got so much different styles and so much different music out of that. I wish we could go back to that. However, I don't see hip hop going back to that format ever again because it's making money.
Right. Because up until I'll say the late 90s, it wasn't that's definitely DJ so-and-so song. But then late 90s and beyond, he was like, oh, that's Swiss Beats. Shout out to Swiss Beats because I like your music too. Oh, that's Timbaland. Shout out to Timbaland. 2 Up, 2 Down. You always knew what DJ or what producer's music it was whenever it came out. And although it was still great music, I did like that when we went back there, if you wasn't from that specific area, you just liked what you was getting. You didn't know who was putting it out.
Right.
So, I like that.
I like the, because you had it was like genres within the genre. Like you had your storytelling, you had your social content, you had the party music, right? You had the dance music. Then you had the lyrics, the lyricism. So you had all this collective stuff within this one genre, and you couldn't really pin it down to like, this person is this. You know what I'm saying? Like you couldn't pin them, you couldn't put them in a box because everybody was making different music. Right. And depending on where you were from,
producer, but I got this producer over here, and so I can go over there and make that song. Yeah.
Right. Like even like depending on where you're from, like it's that music's different. Like West Coast was different from Midwest. Midwest was different from East Coast. East Coast was different from South. Like it was, I called it gumbo because you just had so much different stuff everywhere.
Shoot, if I hadn't, shout out to Salt Pepper. If I hadn't heard that Push It song, these girls in middle school, junior high, whatever you want to call it, were performing that in a talent show. Mm-hmm. And so I had already knew the song, so I was hiding in the cafeteria watching them. And they turned around because this one girl was yelling at a girl that was messing up. She was like, even the nerd back there know to dance over you. I was like, I'm out. But I wish I had more confidence to just be more assertive when it came to dancing, because hip hop music, just the sound helped me. And then when I started in high school with learning all the lyrics, writing everything down, making mixtapes, selling them for $5, I was like,
hell yeah.
You had to know what song you wanted, where you wanted to end, and where you wanted to fade it. I was on it. When it
that record play on the radio?
Yes. And I had a stereo that had a record player, a double cassette tape thing, and an 8-track.
Damn.
8-track, yo. You put an 8-track out to these kids right now, they be like, well, what do you do with this?
What the hell is this? What is this? That's funny because when we went to clean out my grandmother's house, like went to clean out her house, and like there was just 8-tracks everywhere, and I'm like, this shit is
like,
crazy.
Why do people?
Yeah, like why are these here? She just had 8-tracks and 45s. She didn't have no like
45s. I remember those.
Yeah, she had the 45s and the 8-tracks. I'm like, why is this a thing in your house? Right. This This is
but
crazy.
you know, our people always think something's gonna have value later on in life. So
they may be right. Hell, A-Track might be worth something at these points, depending on what it is.
Yeah,
because music is so rare now. Like, I know we have records at my mom's house that I'm like, don't ever throw these shits away. Cause
I love the vinyl sound.
Yeah,
I love the vinyl sound.
Don't ever throw these away.
I don't like all this mixed CD stuff. Whatever they doing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so. But you know, that's my time. I'm going to go ahead and let you go for the day so that way you can get what you need to get done. And I know you are an hour behind, so you got a little bit more time to do some shit.
Yep.
So is there anyone you want to shout out before I close out?
Man, shout out to everybody that tuned into this podcast. Shout out to the DFPN. Shout out to DatFeelin. Shout out to the team, man. Thank you guys. Thank you for your time today too, Kim.
I appreciate it. Thank you for, my little time move because I was pushing it to the minute. I was like, yo, I gotta go. Can you hurry this up? But I appreciate you waiting for me. So to all my listeners, thank you for coming through to the patio with Kim, hitting it up with 50 years of hip hop and Blak Makk, DatFeelin Podcast Network, DatFeelin, everybody on the network, because yes, we do have so many that I gotta write them in again. I can shout everybody out. But I hope you enjoyed our live podcast today. And until the next time, we out. Peace.
Peace.
Apologies. I am learning this. I
don't
know how to get back to the screen.
And your ass was asleep.